What's up, everyone, and welcome to another review here on Save the Game Media. Today, we are taking a look at the recently shadow dropped Hi-Fi Rush. I, Kevin, am joined by my Project X Talk co-host to talk about this Xbox exclusive. Ethan, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good, man. Just went grocery shopping. It's a zoo out there right now. I mean, I'm telling you, it's bad. It's like the first of the month. Everyone got their paycheck. It's Saturday afternoon. Or, no, it's Sunday, right? Is it
Sunday.
Sunday?
Yeah, it's Sunday.
Holy cow. Sunday afternoon. It was an absolute zoo, but we're back. Everything's unpacked. I'm ready to talk about some video games and chill.
Absolutely. This is my second piece of content. I was on No Limits earlier today.
Hey,
Since
look at you.
moving into the new place, got my TV,
Your
my
upside down Arsenal little
I don't know what's
flag
going
thing.
on there. I don't know what's going on. But unpacked. My hands are sore, swollen from all the building things. So I'm ready to talk about Hi-Fi Rush, which I did beat in this room just
Good
Friday
stuff.
night. So
So that's the
I'm
first game you've christened your new condo with Hi-Fi Rush. Is that what you're
That's
saying,
right.
Kevin?
That is correct. I about
That's important.
three and a half hours Friday night I spent playing Hi-Fi Rush. Um
That sets
and
the tone.
and I'm excited to talk to you
If
about
you
it.
played
But
Mario Strikers for your first game, the be miserable for the rest of your life.
the
You'd have
walls
to
would be
sell the
falling
place.
down.
Yeah, it's
Well, yeah,
awful.
I'd have to get rid of it. But if you're new here, this is Save the Game Media. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button for more reviews like this on the channel. Ethan and I and everyone else, we're trying to bring you as many reviews as possible this year, even when we don't get early access, especially for Hi-Fi Rush, because no one got early access because it was shadow
No.
dropped. So we need your support for these kind of videos, this kind of content. And if you want to support us further, please go over to patreon.com/save the game media. Choose the tier that's right for you. Get early access, exclusive content, just like our current Patreon supporters. So thank you to Bucky Blue, Hopple, Alpaca Tom, Amon, Fabulous Brianna, Brianna's mom, Brianna's brother, Brianna's wife, Nikolai at Night, Cypher, Primus, Brendan Myers, Marcus O'Neill, Lillian, Mimi J, The Snack Network, David Hotright, Dave Harp, and the Xbox Expansion Pass, who just did a great interview with the game director of Hi-Fi Rush. So go check that
Ooh.
out if you want more
Yes.
in behind the scenes insight into this game. But Ethan, right off
Yep.
the bat, I gotta know Hi-Fi Rush Shadow dropped. We were there live
Yeah.
reacting to the announcement, but then we went and played it. And
Yep.
what are your overall impressions of this game?
This game is incredible. The story, the characters, the art style, the combat, everything about it clicked with me, Kevin. And this is not normally a game that I'm going to, go out of my way. I think you can see it during the live reaction. I don't get too hyped for it. I'm like, oh, that's cool. They shadow dropped it, but like it's a rhythm action game. Like I'm probably going to play a little bit and put it down. I could not put this game down. It was so addicting. It was so fun. The combat cycles were just great. The environments were fun to explore. The characters were awesome. And overall, I think this is probably one of the best games Xbox has put out in a very, very long time. It's incredible that it came from, of all places, Tango Gameworks. And I think it's a culmination of everything we've been talking about with Xbox and them bringing on board so many different studios, in that they can now do things like Pentiment or like Hi-Fi Rush and go down these little rabbit holes and do these smaller projects that are just so incredible. And you can tell there was so much passion put into this game. And it's exciting. It's really exciting. When you get to see something like this. It's just a great way to start the year. January is usually a downtime for everyone. Everyone's kind of, in the slump, it's after the nice holidays and it's dark and cold, but Hi-Fi Rush, it brought so much color to last month. And I'm excited to get more into this and probably go back and try and 100% at some point this year. We got a lot of games coming up, but there's still a lot to explore in this game because at its core, it really is an action platformer. And I think we talked about that on Project X Talk a little bit. This is an action platformer with a very, very well implemented rhythm twist to the combat. So it's so fun to play this game and to explore its environments. You are muted, Kevin. That's tough. That's tough. That's okay. You're still muted. I think you're broken. Kevin,
How am I was muted
you're
on
broken.
everything. No,
you
I'm
just
not.
you
Okay.
did nobody wanted to hear it. All right. Everyone
Professional
just
podcasters here. Professional
yeah, yeah,
podcasters.
yeah.
I remember when we were live reacting, and I popped off pretty hard for this game. I thought it looked amazing right from the get go. The
Hmm.
rhythm I was concerned about because there are rhythm games such as Metal Hellsinger, which I've tried, didn't really click with
Right.
me. I got frustrated at the fact that like if you didn't hit exactly on the beat, then your attack just didn't come out. Like you were basically helpless.
Right.
So when I was jumping into Hi-Fi Rush, one of the things I was like, I hope it's not like that. And it really isn't.
Hmm.
Instead of needing to hit the beat, you're rewarded for hitting the beat. If you miss it, your attack still comes out. You just do less damage or your combos come out in a different way, right? That is something that I really enjoy. They've kind of taken almost a Devil May Cry esque combat style because you get the ratings at the end, and it's like,
Hmm.
how well did you hit the beat, the timing? How quickly did you finish it? All those types of things goes into an overall score for each encounter, and you could feel yourself getting better with the rhythm as the game.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a point where it clicks for you and you're like, "Oh, I'm hitting this and it's putting me in a flow state right now and I'm starting to get S tier and everything." And that's a great feeling that this game gives you.
So I don't think I got S tier on the rhythm part a few times. Overall, I was probably hanging in the B range, I would say, to be honest with you.
Yep.
It was more one of those things was I found certain combo chains that I really enjoyed doing, whether they were flashy or because I felt like they flowed like the heavy into light attacks. Those were so satisfying. The gameplay loop in this game really was the star for me. I love the visuals. I think the comic book esque cell shading,
Yep.
really the bright, vibrant colors were amazing to look at, especially playing on my OLED back here. Oh man, beautiful, beautiful
Oh
game,
yeah.
flawless performance. But the gameplay really just sucked you in at certain points when you were getting those combat encounters where most of the time it wasn't just beat three enemies, move on. It was
Hmm.
waves of enemies, right? Like,
Yep.
and you'd have these little interstitial like Chai would be like, "This is my favorite part," or something like that during it. I really enjoyed it. It was such a fun experience, and you get so many unique tools at your disposal during combat,
Hmm.
whether it's the special moves or my favorite, the magnet. I love
Yeah.
zipping between enemies, especially when they're airborne, and then just whooping ass mid-air was so much fun.
Yeah, I usually try to get enemies airborne with like power attacks, and I would just kind of like do dashes in the air to move over and like do slam attacks and get people back up in the air. There's so many different ways you can do the combat in this game. There's so many ways that the combos sort of interact with each other. Cool thing about this game, you have like a little arena mode you can do from the little hub area. Where you can go in and do training and really experiment with all these. If you're that type of player who wants to
Mhm.
do that, if you're not that type of player, you don't have to do it. You can just do the basic quick attack combo or power attack combo to get through this game. I did that a lot just to get through some combat sequences to enjoy the story and
Yeah.
continue exploring. But you can do whatever you want. There's a lot of like custom. It's not customizability, but it feels like customizability in the sense that you're, tailoring the combat to what you want out of it.
Yeah, you could the way they design it is you have your basic combos, but then they never make things too complicated. It's usually like delay hitting the X button here, and
Right.
you'll get a different combo chain, a different string of attacks. And we didn't even mention that like one of the other things you can do in combat is call in your allies with the right trigger, and
Yes.
you get three different allies throughout the course of the game. You can cycle through them. They
Feels so
each
good hitting
they
that.
each bring something different. I find that Peppermint really awesome. I love
Yep.
combining with her. Corsica, I really enjoyed calling in. I didn't really care for Macaron, to be honest, in combat most of the time. He was very slow, and the enemy often would move away.
I used them when you had to use them to break
Yes,
shielding and stuff.
that's why he was like one of the only achievements I didn't get for like use him to break a certain number of shields.
So crazy strategy I used to get all those achievements and to just control the battlefield. If you just hit like left trigger, right trigger, left trigger, right
That's
trigger,
what I
and
was
spawn
doing.
all three of them, and you're just like, all of them are on the battlefield at once doing their powers. It's so fun and chaotic. You're just like, oh god, what's going on? But it's a
Yeah,
great time.
that's
Yeah.
what I was doing for a lot of it. So the game is pretty linear, which I like. I'm glad it wasn't some sort of big open world thing, and that's different because if you look at Tango's last piece of work, right, with Ghostwire
Hmm.
Tokyo,
Yeah.
a game that I actually like. I don't love, and I don't love it because of the open world section. I think the open world section wasn't done very well in that game. The linear main story missions were fantastic. So I hope Tango can kind of see the success. I know they're very different games. That one's like spooky horror and the other is this light-hearted fun rhythm game, but
Yeah.
I think that linear games are really where they're nailing it, and they should lean into that more.
Yeah, it's a linear game, but just to be clear to everyone, there are areas that you can explore, and there are like side paths that you can find to get more. What's the currency called in this? It's basically like nuts
They're
and
like
bolts,
bolts,
right?
yeah, they're
Yeah,
like
it's kind
bolts.
of like Ratchet and
Gears, I
Clank
think.
gears, something. Or you can find collectibles in the world, or different items to get upgrades for yourself. Like
Mhm.
there's a lot of depth to the level design that I really appreciated. And I really had fun exploring everything, even if you're just exploring to look at the environment or the environmental storytelling. There was even environmental storytelling in this, which I did not expect. I know one point you go into the museum. This is a spoiler for the game. Obviously, if you're here, you're going to hear spoilers. Corsica is originally an enemy. She's head of security of this place, and you're fighting her. She eventually joins your team up. And then when you go to the museum later in the game where they have all the department heads' pictures up, you can go into this little dark alley to get some collectibles, and you'll see Corsica's paintings like in those dark alleys, like hanging up against the wall because they took them down and everything. There's just a lot of little
Mm.
details in this game. If you go out and find those things, you can tell there's a lot of passion and heart put in this game, and it's just so exciting to go through the depth of these levels that they created for us.
Yeah, I don't even know if Corsica being because in the trailers it shows the enemies and it shows your allies. Like it's pretty. I think they
Oh,
make it.
do they show Corsica in
I
the
think
trailers?
so. I
I can't remember.
somehow I knew from the I was like, she's gonna join us. Like it
I
seemed
figured
pretty.
because she was like already on the fence here with the company, and like they didn't have the best relationship, but when it happened, I wasn't surprised, I guess I
Yeah,
should
yeah,
say.
and I'm glad because she's literally one of my favorite characters in this game. I
Absolutely, I love her.
love
Yeah.
Corsica. I love Peppermint, and in terms of
The
like the
robot dude, we gotta talk about the robot
cinnamon,
dude. The
cinnamon.
one that he draws on his face every time he changes emotions. It's so great. I
Yeah,
love him.
we'll get into the story and the
Yep.
characters. Just wrapping up the gameplay section. So like outside of combat, it is very much a platforming, some collectibles where you get the health tanks and stuff. And I what I liked about the level design here is that the hidden areas, air quotes
Mhm.
for audio listeners, are pretty obvious. You kind of know, like, hey, that section has a collectible over there. I
Right.
think they do a great job in subtly telling the player this is where you go to get an extra thing, or this will be a secret area to come back to later after you've beaten the game.
Yeah, and there's a lot of those moments too when you're going throughout the level and you can see up ahead, like, oh, there's a secret area over there that I can't access yet. But once I get up there, I just have to remember to try and find a place to go. And you're a resident platforming expert here. I want to get your opinion on this. The platforming in this felt great. Being able to jump around, doing the little zip lining stuff, like it wasn't super in depth. There weren't a ton of mechanics, but it really felt good jumping around this world and sort of getting up on platforms and nailing different spots.
I think the jumping could have been a little better. It did feel a little
Mhm.
clunky moving
Okay.
through the air when you jumped. I do love the zip lining sections of this game.
Yeah.
So much fun. Nothing detrimental. My only negative from a gameplay perspective is I really don't like the parry system. I do
Okay.
not. I did not enjoy it, but that is a more of a me thing where I don't enjoy parrying in most games. I strictly prefer to dodge attacks
Yeah.
or
Dodge,
shield
make
them.
distance.
Yeah, shield them. So it's the fact that they made parrying, especially in later chapters, such a big part of the game where you
Right.
have to, especially for one boss fight, you have to hit parries.
If you want to get S rank on anything, you have to hit parries.
Yeah,
It's
it's
very hard to
crazy.
get an S rank on the timing portion of each battle without doing parries because then you're just doing attacks and it'll give you like an A on attacks, but you
Hmm.
got to hit a couple good parries in order to get an S ranking on that.
Yeah, that's my only real complaint about gameplay. But if we want to talk about the story more, I don't think Hi-Fi Rush, from a story perspective, is anything groundbreaking, like earth-shattering. But I don't think it was ever meant to be. This game wears it, and you might, I don't know if you feel this way. I don't know how familiar you are, but this game wears its inspirations very much on its sleeve, and those inspirations are things like Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Mm.
This I think
Spider-Man.
there might have
Really big
been
Spider-Man vibes from the
yeah
main character, Chai.
there are it has that humor where it's like I don't know how to it's almost awkward at certain points, but or then it's like so over the top that it's like funny.
Right.
The main character you think will have a heartwarming moment, and then he'll say the stupidest
Yeah.
thing, and I'm like, they nailed the tone of this game. What they were going for, I think, just blew it out of the park. I came away. There were parts during the story where I was like, okay, it's a little lull right now. I think a few chapters in the middle there could have been condensed, and we
Right.
stretched a few of them out. But towards the end, especially those last three chapters, I think absolutely phenomenal. Some of
Yeah.
like I found myself like actually getting like, oh wow, this is really like I'm happy. I'm like, this is a good moment
Yep.
in the game for these characters. The it was silly, but it was also like it was heartwarming. It was one of those kind of moments. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, this to me isn't a story that's reinventing the wheel at all. But I think it was backed up by such a good world and such good characters that it was really fun to go through.
Hmm.
Specifically, I think Peppermint was my favorite character. Her
Love
performance, all the
Peppermint.
performances were great. Specifically, Peppermint's performance was incredible, especially near the end when you could tell she was gay because you can see a mile away that she's related to somebody or she's related to one of the
Yes.
bosses. It ends up that she's related to the CEO of the company. That's her brother, right? And he's like controlling their mother to basically be a slave to him, and that's the whole thing. And you can tell her emotions are starting to come out near the end there, like I said, that museum scene when you're looking at exhibits, and it's sort of like history was reinvented by the brother, and you can tell her
Hmm.
she's getting frustrated, and the whole team kind of backs her up and says, "No, we got this. We're going to take care of this. We're going to take care of business." And there's a lot of heartwarming moments between the team during those later stages, like you said. And I think there's a lot of character development and really cool story progression during those last few chapters. But overall, the story. It's not going to knock your socks off. It's a band of misfits going up against a giant corporation. I mean, that story's been told a million times in different ways. But I think it's just backed up by such a great world, such great characters. Art style's incredible, that it just makes it really fun to go through in this way.
Yeah, the main beat is Chai joins. He goes to get a robotic arm to become a rock star, right? And then
Yeah.
finds out that the company is corrupt and they're trying to take over the world with mind control using their robotic devices. And then Peppermint and a bunch of workers from the company are like, we gotta stop this. So they team up with Chai and take
Shout
down the
out
company.
808. You got
Literally,
shout out 808.
oh 808, yes, the robotic
Yep.
cat, which is like the new Xbox mascot that everyone's blowing up.
Gotta be. Come on.
He's amazing. He's amazing. But Peppermint, I think, right from the start, is one of the standouts. And the voice actress Erica Lindbeck is very notable. I don't know if
Mm.
she's been in Sword Art Online,
Oh.
Jericho in the Seven Deadly Sins,
Hmm.
Your Lie in April. I know Kaya, my brother, loves that. Was in Tales of Hysteria, so I know her from there. A lot of anime work, a lot of the Japanese style things, which makes sense.
Tango Gameworks.
But Futaba in Persona. So
Ah.
there is a lot of yeah, Japanese influence. Like she's all
Yep.
over this kind of stuff, which is great. And then you have Robbie Damon as Chai. So they went all out here for some of the voice actors,
Great voice cast.
and
Absolutely.
I think they nailed
Oh,
like absolutely amazing stuff here.
yeah, their
The
performances were
performances.
off the charts with these characters. They did these characters so much justice, I think. Each character, even the villains, I'm talking like the whole all around cast of this was really awesome. I really enjoyed a lot of the performances. It was great.
Yeah. So, uh, like the story is fine. I do think there's a little lull in the middle there. Probably could have been one or two chapters shorter. The ending is super, like, very enjoyable. Good payoff, I think.
Yes.
A lot of
Yes.
fun. My spoilers, in case I don't know why you're not like we spoiled a few
Already
things now,
done. Yeah.
but when you switch to cinnamon,
Yes.
to
I was like, what am I
I
doing?
I was like, what of all the characters to have you play as apart from Chai, they give you a little section where you
Yeah.
basically just run and jump as Cinnamon, and then you fire a giant robot laser. I was
And
like,
they
this is
gave you
so
the
good.
tutorial for how to jump again, like you were restarting the game. It was just so perfect. I was like,
It's
this is
why I
great.
think this game is so good. It's
Yeah.
just it's funny. It nails
It doesn't take
everything goes
itself too
for.
seriously, right? Like it knows it's a video game. It knows it's an over the top video game, and they confront you with it and they have fun with it. It doesn't take itself too seriously. I love games like that.
Absolutely. I'm so ecstatic, and I'm very much of the I'm in the camp of recommend this game hard
A
recommend.
100%.
This is one of this is probably my my game of the year right now. I know it's February and it's
Oh yeah.
only
100,
it's
yeah.
1 month into, but it will be hard pressed not to see this game in my top 10
I mean, you know me. If Starfield comes out this year, it's over with, Kevin. But I
for
mean, this is going
sure.
to
But
be a
top
very
10.
close number two. I mean, if this is going to show up at the end of the year for us, and I'm really, really hoping we get some nominations at the Game Awards for this. I hope that recency bias doesn't take over. I hope
Hmm.
people remember how great this, not even this game, but also the moment of this game being shadow dropped and the entire world of gaming stopping, being like, oh my god, this game's amazing. What is Xbox doing? This is not what Xbox does. Like they don't make games like
And
this. This is great.
I think that's one of the best part. Like we always talk about in the Xbox community how Xbox hasn't had one of those zeitgeist moments where
Right.
people are talking about one of their games. And Hi-Fi Rush has kind of become that game where Twitter was blowing up, obsessed with this game,
Yep.
still kind of is. And I think the shadow drop, the nature behind that really got people excited. And then the fact that it is one of their best games in years, where it's sitting, last I checked, at a 90 on Open Critic.
Wow.
Absolutely, like nobody saw this coming. And it's captured people in a way I don't think they could have. Yeah, 90 on Open Critic out of 74 reviews, 99% recommended. And if we were on Open Critic, we would try to push that up to 100. And like, I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like, I can't stress enough that this game is really, really good. It's
Yeah.
really special. Even if you don't like rhythm games, you don't need to.
Exactly.
You
Yep.
don't need to.
Yeah. If you don't like rhythm games, like I mean, case in point, I don't like rhythm games, or at least I'm not like a huge fan of them. I don't go out of my way to seek them. This felt incredible. The way the rhythm was implemented in this game, the way all the cutscenes and all the characters and the environment are going with the rhythm, it just feels so good to play. I
Mhm.
think this is worth playing for anybody out there who has Game Pass, who has a damn Xbox, has a PC. You got to go out and check this game. It's incredible.
And just a little fun Easter egg they threw in here. I don't know if you know the detective robots
I love the detective
are from the
robots.
Evil Within series.
Are they really? I never
Yeah.
played Evil Within, so
Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't.
yeah. They're homoges to the Evil Within characters,
I
Tango's
love them.
previous games. So
Yeah, they were just noir robots. It was great.
Tango has made a fan of me recently. I know I'm not Evil Within didn't really ever do it for me, but I liked Ghostwire enough, and I really love this game. So I'm excited to see what Tango's doing in the
Yeah,
future.
and it just shows the range and the talent of these developers at that studio. And it's so exciting to know that they're on Team Xbox and that they honestly could surprise us now with anything. I
Hmm.
mean, if they're going from horror games to a creepy open world Ghostwire Tokyo type game to now an action platformer rhythm game that's cell shaded, like they could throw any curveball at us. It's so exciting. I'm like you said, Tango, you've won me over. I'm excited for whatever the hell you put out at this point.
And I'm really glad that they're not getting pigeonholed into the horror studio. I think
Absolutely.
that was
Yeah.
something that people that they make horror games. Like that's what people's thought process was when you heard
Right, right.
Tango, and now it's like they make games. They just
They
we don't
just make
know. They
games.
just make games,
They just
which
make good video games.
is great. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting at a recommend. You're sitting at a recommend. I
Can't
don't
recommend
know,
enough.
is there anything else to say about this besides the game is amazing? The gameplay is amazing. Story is a lot of fun. The characters are a lot of fun. Great performances. I'm trying to think of anything
I mean,
I
if this
haven't
is what
praised.
we expect, or if this is what we can expect out of Xbox that for this year, I think we're in for a good year. If we can nail these games coming out and get these dates, I think any Xbox fans out there, and if you're listening to this, you probably are, and you listen to us on Thursdays, we should be excited right now because this is a
Mhm.
big moment for us, and it's just a great precedent to set for this year. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. Well, on that note, we will wrap this up. Thank you, everyone, for checking out our review of Hi-Fi Rush. If you haven't played it for some reason, go play it. We
Go
kind of
play
told
it.
you some things, but go play the game. Come back. I don't know why you come back. Go watch our other
Just
videos, but
watch it again.
yeah, just watch it
Or watch the
again.
live react where we popped off about it.
Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, drop us ratings over on audio if you're listening over there. We appreciate every single one of you. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you next time for another review. Goodbye.
Peace.